of refugees. Let's cross over live.
For me, for girls, for boys, for youth, is an urgent need and is a priority, because these children in the camps, particularly the youth, if they're sitting doing nothing and they cannot see the roadmap for their dreams, then they are lost. And when they are lost, generations are lost, not only them, and we do not benefit. So you could see the link between us as communities and between these children investing in them, and you could see the future ahead and how positively they can contribute, and the positive outcome will come out of that. So I think it is a very important and noble cause we're here today, and therefore I'm very encouraged really by this initiative, and I understand it's the first time really we're all coming together to support education. And your role as a media here is very important to project the positive story about refugees, but also the need for education today and tomorrow is a long investment, but is investment worthwhile. And I really don't want to bother you with a lot of information, but there will be time to answer your question. But let me thank you for coming today and this opportunity for us to talk about education for boys and girls, for youth, for refugee children, and supporting host communities as well. Thank you so much. And I would like to invite Mr. Yusuf Nzibu, the chairperson of the Supreme Muslim Council of Kenya, and we'll hear from him. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We want to take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for bringing us together for a cause that is worth for us as Kenyans and as Muslims to contribute towards a crisis that exists in this country. We Kenyans are known to be very humanitarian, very welcoming, but there's an issue of refugees in this country that many of us have not paid attention to. And I want to thank Madam Fatah Abdallah. I want to thank my former boss, Ambassador Afe, Special Envoy, for bringing SUPKEM towards this very worthy cause, especially during the month of Ramadan. As you all know, the month of Ramadan is a month of soul-searching, of getting closer to your Creator, of helping those in need, especially the unfortunate ones, providing them with what they lack, food, assistance, and other things. But the cause of helping a sustainable project like this particular one, of investing in the young people for their education, for the future of their country, helping them to go back to their country, to develop their country, is a cause that many of us, including us as SUPKEM, had not thought about. So I want to thank the two envoys here. I want to thank my MP, Honorable Yusuf, who is the MP for Kamkunji, for holding our hands, bringing us together. I want to thank the Muslim business community from Isli for adhering to this cause. I want to thank the imams of mosques in Nairobi for accepting this worthy cause of helping the unfortunate refugee youth. As we all know, Islam, the Holy Quran, and our Lord, the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, our Prophet in his teachings have emphasized the importance of education, of helping the unfortunate ones. There's a whole chapter in the Quran about women. The Prophet talked about the girl child. It's unfortunate the opportunities for the girl child in the two camps is very, very limited. The statistics that we've been given, about half of the youth in these camps do not have an opportunity to have an education, 49%. If you look at those who have the opportunity to go to tertiary education is only a mere 13 to 18%. And statistics are very worrying. We talk about refugee situations, especially the Rohingyas and others. We talk about the situation in Venezuela, we talk about the situation in Central Europe. Well, we hardly talk about the situation among ourselves. The refugees in our camps. Youth who have grown up, who are in fact are second and third generation in these camps without any hope. Youth who, if assisted, given an opportunity like we've given our own children of education, will be future leaders of tomorrow who will be ready to go back to their country and help build and bring peace. The unfortunate situation for us is that these youths are idle, sustainable to all sorts of things, including drugs, including getting confused into the so-called jihadist movements, some finding their way all the way to Libya, lingering in Libyan jails because of the hope of going to Europe. But the most unfortunate thing, we talk about radicalization among our youths, but we never talk about youth in this camp who have lost hope, who have no opportunity. We have talked about the numbers of secondary schools in these camps, double shifts, the way we were doing during the colonial period. And it's time for us as Muslims, especially at this, as the month of Ramadan approaches, for us to look back, that we can do more than giving people iftar, more than giving them food relief, that is a cause worth investing in the future of these refugees, in helping them have an education. And I'm happy that a number of Muslim embassies have agreed to come together with us to find ways of giving them scholarships, release, and others. And we shall be meeting the ambassadors today. And I'm calling upon everybody. This is not to just help Muslims. Islam does not talk about helping only Muslims. The Prophet talked about helping your neighbor, be they Muslims or non-Muslims. And therefore this cause, we're using the month of Ramadan because it's the month when people are generous, when people turn to their God more than before, that let us help all these refugees, be they Muslims, be they non-Muslims. But we know, statistically wise, that over 80% are Muslims. And therefore I'm calling upon everybody, whether Muslims or non-Muslims, the business community, foundations, to come together with us and have a worthy cause on the 11th of May. During the iftar, they will be organized in conjunction with UNHCR. And this is why SUPKEM feels it's important. And this is why I'm making, as chairman of the Supreme Council of Kenyan Muslims, I'm making appeal to our members of parliament, and I'm thankful our honorable member and my namesake has been with us from day one. I'm appealing to the business community, I'm appealing to everybody, including the individuals. This is a cause worthwhile. These young people, once educated, they will not only help build our own nation, come into our economy, but also build the future. They are the blocks that will build the future of their country, be it Somalia, be it Southern Sudan, now with Sudan, be it the Congo. It's a cause that is very rewarding. And I'm hoping and I pray to the Almighty Allah that all of us will find generosity during this month of Ramadan and make meaningful contribution towards the education of youth who have lost hope. We talked about the youth of Southern Sudan, remember, years back. But now we're talking about us as Kenyans doing something to make a difference, to sustain a program that UNHCR has made an effort reaching out to us to assist. People think UNHCR has money, but the truth of the matter, the resources are very limited. And that's why we have found it is very important for us as SUPKEM to join forces. We've had iftar before, but this is for us to meet as Muslims, share a meal. But this particular one, as the Quran teaches us, as the Prophet teaches us, it's very important the need for education is emphasized by the Prophet and the Holy Book of the Quran, that we must read and learn. And therefore, I'm appealing to everybody, let's come together. Let's contribute generously towards this worthy cause, a sustainable worthy cause. And there may be other people who want also to make food relief and all that, remember the Ramadan. We're saying that is also encouraged. But we're saying together with the diplomats, with the business community, with the individuals, donate, be it a shilling, be it 1,000,000 shillings, be it 10 shillings, to make a difference to the youth who have lost hope. So with these few remarks, mine is to say thank you once again to UNHCR for opening the door for us to be able to contribute to our worthy cause. And may Allah reward us abundantly for this cause that is worth not only for our nation, but also for our neighbors. Shukran. Now I call upon my former boss, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs, and now Special Envoy, Ambassador Afe, to come and give a speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman Zibo, for those kind introduction. I also just want to join you in this particular curtain raiser press conference, which is meant to announce to the country the desire of UNHCR this year during the month of Ramadan to partner with the SUPKEM in order to raise awareness around the issue of refugee education in this country and see how we can get Kenyans to support this effort. I wish to recognize our representative to Kenya, Fatih Abdallah, and to thank her for her leadership. She just in this country for nearly less than a month, and it is very exciting to see the kind of effort she has put into this and many more things that I hope will be done in this country for the refugee protection. I just also want to recognize and acknowledge really the presence of Honorable Yusuf Hassan, a Member of Parliament for Kamukinji, himself a former UN colleague, but who has been very, very important partner and a pillar in our campaign this year. And out of his very busy schedule, he's even able to join us this morning. We want to appreciate Honorable Yusuf for your presence. Now, my remarks will basically be few, given that our two important distinguished leaders have already explained why we are here. But also just to give you a bit of the regional perspective, as a special envoy of the High Commissioner for the sub-region, the country's neighboring Kenya, this is one region in the world which has highest number of refugees. It's the only region which produces refugees, at the same time it hosts refugees. So that we have in this region, South Sudan, a producer of refugees. As we speak now, we get still people coming from South Sudan seeking for protection in the region. The same with Somalia. And at the same time, it's the country that's hosting them. So it's a very unique region, and I'm very privileged as a Kenyan to work for the High Commissioner, to be Special Envoy in this region. We have about 3.8 million refugees in our sub-region seeking protection and support. Great majority of these refugees are school-going age children. They are youthful, they are young. And as we speak, they continue to be the refugee populations, of course, as all of us, our families, children continue to be born into these situations. As we speak, we have got fresh births going on, and therefore increasing the number almost daily. Now, my visits to the regions that I have traveled and to all the camps, I see a lot of desperation and hopelessness in the eyes of the refugee children. And that's because of the fact that all of us have hope, and every individual is born with the potentials and with the abilities. But you don't choose to become a refugee. So we have within our societies people who have found themselves as refugees seeking protection and support. But we as UNHCR have been involved and we have been part of this journey to assist them to provide protection, but not only protection, also to provide solutions. Now, it has been identified, all of us, universally we know, that education is an important tool First of all, it's a tool that equalizes society. So whether you're a refugee or you're not a refugee, so long as you are a human being and you have got aspirations and you have desires, there is need to provide education. So it's the greatest equalizer we have amongst the societies, and therefore you can find somebody born in a refugee camp becoming the president of the country that has displaced him. And we have seen this in the region already. The second thing, of course, education is a tool of hope. It gives hope to everybody who has education. I mean, you become hopeful about the life. You become hopeful about society. You become useful. The third, of course, is education is a tool of self-reliance. All of us wish to be self-reliant, wish to be independent, wish to grow. Now, without education, and this is a very common need for all of us, then there will be no possibility of somebody really becoming really self-reliant. Thirdly, and the most important thing, if we educate refugee youth in this region, and in particular in Kenya, we certainly are going to contribute to the stability and the progress of the countries of origin where these refugees have left. We have seen young people who have been educated in Kenya who are now important government players in Somalia and in South Sudan. And this is because of education. Without education, they will not be playing that important role. And therefore, this year, we are very privileged, and we really want to thank SUPKEM, an umbrella Muslim organization in this country, for agreeing to partner with us. In many ways, what SUPKEM stands for is what UNHCR stands for. We are driven by the same desire to help the less fortunate, to lobby and to advocate for those who don't have the platform and who do not have the possibility to speak for themselves, the voiceless in the society. So we as UNHCR, this year, as has been stated, we heard from our representatives that we are actually having crisis situation in this country, particularly Kenya. People are growing up in the camps, they marry in the camps, and they become hopeless in the camps. So if we can be able to provide them with the necessary tools, and I have seen it myself in Kakuma, I have seen it myself in Dadaab, where young people who become parents when they're still themselves very young, because really there's nothing else that they can be able to do. Therefore, I think that we want to seek for your help collectively as Kenyans this year to partner with us and UNHCR and SUPKEM in order, first of all, to raise awareness around this issue and also to see the possibilities of helping. Finally, I just want to thank Kenyans and the Kenyan government because now we are here, and as an envoy, this is what we always must do, to appreciate the hospitality of the host governments and the host community. Really, without the government's desire to assist refugees, without the host community accepting refugees, the refugees will not be in this country and live and thrive in the manner in which they are doing. They are fully secure, they are protected, and we want to appreciate the generosity of the government of Kenya. In fact, this particular campaign strongly follows the decisions made by heads of state and government here in March 2017, a conference that was the president of this country, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, did host his counterparts, his colleagues from the region. That time, the meeting was meant to find a durable solution to the Somali refugee situation in the region, and of course, a solution to even the South Sudan situation and all the situations that are requiring of urgent intervention. One of the decisions made by heads of state and government was to invest in education. So this particular effort we are doing is actually in fulfillment of the desire of the heads of state of this region when they met here in Nairobi in a view to find a solution for the refugee situation we have in our region. So we want to acknowledge the role of Kenya. We want to appreciate Kenyans for their generosity, for their hospitality, and for their patience. And we just want to request that if we educate these refugees, even as they go back, because the most durable solution anywhere around the world is the voluntary return of all these populations back home. But even as we do that, there is a desire and need to prepare them for that journey. so that eventually when these countries become stable, these populations go back, but they go back when they are skilled, when they are educated, when they are not a threat to the host country and they are not a threat to the country of origin. And the best tool is to provide education, support, and services to this population. So we want to thank our host country again and again, but I hope that this month of Ramadan, in the spirit the chairman has eloquently explained, and our representative has given an overview of our situation, that hopefully we can partner with all Kenyans. It's not a campaign targeting only Muslims. It's a campaign targeting all Kenyans of goodwill. Only that we want to benefit from the unique spirit associated with the month of Ramadan, the month where there's a lot of reflection, there's a deep desire to give and to support, and therefore I hope that we can be able to generate enough support. And it's a month-long campaign. It's not a one-day event. This is one of the first events that we have. We will have an iftar reception in order to get maybe those of us who wish to contribute. But also it's a month campaign, and I hope that you can be able to pass the good message to support the refugee population in this country. I just want to stop there to thank you for your patience.
All right, that is the United Nations High Commission for Refugees there, as well as the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, SUPKEM, partnering on a Ramadan appeal to raise funds for the education of refugees in the country. A good appeal there, going beyond not just the Muslim